You're in a crowded room. The air crackles with laughter and lively chatter. Every eye seems drawn to that one person, the center of attention. They're charismatic, self-assured, speaking with absolute conviction. But something feels off. A shiver runs down your spine. A nagging unease settles in your chest. Something just doesn't quite fit. You lock eyes with them and see what no one else does. You see the vacancy behind the practiced smile, the coldness concealed by their charming facade, the insatiable hunger lurking beneath the surface. And you can't help but ask yourself, am I losing it? Why am I the only one who notices this? Carl Jung had an answer, and modern neuroscience is now confirming what he intuited over a century ago. You're not crazy, you're highly sensitive, and that means your brain processes the world in a way that most people simply can't. Today, I'm going to explain exactly what you see in narcissists that others can't. And more importantly, I'm going to show you why they fear you, why you represent the biggest threat to the meticulously crafted mask they've spent their entire lives building. Before we go any further, I need you to understand something fundamental. Hypersensitivity is not a weakness. It's not being overly sensitive, and it's definitely not drama. It's a neurobiological trait that affects how your brain processes information. Recent studies published in 2024 and 2025 confirm that highly sensitive people share three key characteristics: deep cognitive processing, a tendency to be easily overwhelmed by stimuli, and heightened empathy. Andrew Huberman, the renowned neuroscientist from Stanford, has explained in his lab that sensitivity to environmental stimuli varies enormously from person to person. Some people process information quickly and superficially, others process it deeply and with intricate detail. You fall into the latter category. This means that while most people only see the surface, you see the hidden layers. You notice the micro-expression that flashed for a tenth of a second. You sense the incongruence between what someone says and what their body language communicates. You detect the energy that contradicts their words. And when it comes to narcissists, this ability becomes your greatest tool for self-protection, or your greatest source of torment. It all depends on you understanding what is happening. Jung called this the perception of the shadow. He discovered that every human being possesses a part of their psyche that they hide in the darkness. These are the traits we reject, deny, or simply don't want to acknowledge in ourselves. The narcissist is a master at concealing their shadow. They've constructed such an elaborate mask that it fools practically everyone. Practically, but not you. You see through the mask because your brain does something that most brains don't. You don't accept the surface at face value. You automatically seek what lies beneath. And when you look at a narcissist, you see the shadow they so desperately try to hide. Let me explain exactly what you perceive. These are 7 things that highly sensitive people see in narcissists that no one else can. The first thing is the emptiness behind the grandiosity. The narcissist presents themselves as the most interesting, the most capable, the most special person in the room. They talk about their accomplishments, their talents, their powerful connections. To most people, this comes across as confidence, as success, as someone who's made it. But you sense the emptiness. You realize that behind all that grandiosity lies a desperate need for validation. The narcissist isn't sharing because they want to connect. They're performing because they need applause. Without that applause, they crumble. Jung described this as ego inflation. When a person inflates their ego to compensate for an inner void, they create a facade that appears impressive, but that you, with your sensitivity, perceive as hollow. You sense there's no substance, that it's all just a show. Huberman explained in episodes about emotions that our brains have dedicated systems for detecting authenticity. Some brains are more finely tuned to this than others. Yours is one of them. You can discern when an emotion is genuine and when it's manufactured. And with the narcissist, you sense the fabrication. The second thing you see is envy masked as admiration. The narcissist often approaches you with what seems like admiration. They praise your qualities, talk about how special you are, how different you are. This makes you feel seen, valued, and that's exactly what they want. But at some point, you perceive something strange. The praise comes with a different flavor. There's something underneath it. And what's underneath it is envy. The narcissist doesn't admire you. They envy you. And they're approaching you because they want to absorb what you have that they lack. Jung was very clear about this. He said that envy is one of the most destructive forces in the psyche, and the narcissist is driven by envy. They see in you something they can't have, no matter how hard they try. You have authenticity. You have the capacity for genuine connection. You have inner peace, and they want it. Research on narcissism confirms that at the core of the narcissist lies a pleasure deficit and a deep sense of envy. They look at others and feel that everyone has something they deserve to have. And when they look at you, they see all the qualities they pretend to possess, but that you genuinely have. The third thing you see is the predator behind the charm. To most people, the narcissist seems charming, likable, someone who's good to be around. But you sense something different. You feel a predatory energy, a sense of danger that doesn't align with their friendly words. This isn't paranoia. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Huberman explains that our brains have ancestral circuits dedicated to detecting threats. These circuits operate below the conscious level. You feel the danger before you can even explain why. The highly sensitive person has these circuits more active. You perceive threats that others ignore. And when you're near a narcissist, your body alerts you. The discomfort in your stomach, the tension in your shoulders, the impulse to leave. Your body knows, even if your mind hasn't fully processed it yet. Jung called this intuition. He believed that intuition was a psychic function that perceives possibilities and patterns that the conscious mind can't yet see. The highly sensitive person has this function highly developed. You intuit the real intention behind the actions. The fourth thing you see is the subtle manipulation. The narcissist is a master of manipulation, but they don't manipulate in an obvious way. They use techniques so subtle that most people don't even notice. A comment that seems innocent but is actually a disguised criticism. A compliment that's actually a way to keep you dependent. A question that's actually a way to collect information to use against you later. You notice? You sense the double meaning. You detect the intention behind the words. And often, you find yourself thinking, am I imagining things? Am I just being paranoid? No, you're seeing what's really there. The manipulation is happening, and you're sensitive enough to perceive it. The problem is, when you try to explain it to others, they just don't get it. They see a likable person. They don't see the hidden layers, and you end up feeling isolated, crazy, wrong. But you're not wrong. You're just seeing what your brain was designed to see. The fifth thing you notice is the lack of real empathy. The narcissist might seem empathetic. They might say the right things, make the right gestures. They might appear to care. But you feel the difference between performed empathy and genuine empathy. Real empathy. You feel it. It's a connection, a resonance. You know the person is genuinely present with you. Performed empathy. You feel that too, but differently. There's something mechanical about it, something empty. The person is going through the motions, but they're not really connected. Neuroscience research confirms that narcissists may have the cognitive ability to understand emotions, but they often lack the effective ability to feel along. They know what they should be feeling, so they imitate it. But you, with your heightened sensitivity, perceive the imitation. Carl Jung spoke about the difference between the persona and the self. The persona is the mask we wear for the world. The self is who we really are. The narcissist lives in the persona. They've lost contact with their self. And when you look at them, you perceive there's no one really there. Just the mask. The sixth thing you notice is the hidden rage. Behind the charm and likability, there's an immense rage, a rage they hide most of the time, but you feel it like an underground current. You perceive the tension, the contained aggression, the explosion waiting to happen. And when the rage finally emerges, you're not surprised. You already knew it was there, but others are shocked. How could someone so likable be so cruel? You knew. You saw the hidden cruelty all along. Jung and Huberman and behavioral specialists explain that narcissism often emerges from childhood trauma, from a deep feeling of not being good enough. That feeling generates rage. Rage against themselves, against the world, against anyone who threatens their carefully constructed image. And you are a threat because you see through the image, because you perceive the truth, and that awakens their rage against you. The seventh and last thing you notice is the fear. Yes, you read that right. You see the narcissist's fear behind all the grandiosity, the charm, the manipulation. There's a deep fear. Fear of being discovered, fear of being seen as they really are, fear of the mask falling. And when the narcissist looks at you, they feel you see right through them. They can't explain how, but they know. And that terrifies them, because the mask is all they have. Without it, they're just the emptiness they're trying so hard to hide. Jung explained that the most aggressive people are often the most afraid. Aggression is a defense against fear. The narcissist attacks because they're afraid, and they're more afraid of you than anyone else, because you see what they're hiding. Now you understand why your relationships with narcissists are so intense, why they seem attracted to you in the beginning, and then become your greatest tormentors, and why you feel so exhausted after interacting with them. You're processing so much more information than most. You're seeing layers others don't even know exist, and you're carrying the weight of seeing the truth, while everyone around you seems blind. But here's what you need to understand. Seeing the truth is a gift and also a responsibility. You don't need to convince anyone of what you see. You don't need to prove you're right. You just need to protect yourself. Let me give you some practical guidance based on everything Carl Jung and modern neuroscience teach. First, trust your perception. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your body doesn't lie. Your instinct has been calibrated by thousands of years of evolution. When you sense danger, it's because there is danger. Second, don't try to fix the narcissist. You can't. They don't want to be fixed. They want you to be a source of supply for their ego. Your empathy won't cure them. It will only drain you. Third, establish firm boundaries. The narcissist will test your boundaries constantly. They'll try to invade your space, consume your time, drain your energy. You need walls, not fences. Walls, high and solid. Fourth, surround yourself with people who understand you. You need a circle that validates your perception. People who also see the hidden layers. People who don't make you feel crazy for perceiving what others don't. Fifth, take care of your energy. You process more, so you get exhausted faster. You need more time alone, more silence, more recovery. That's not weakness. It's necessary maintenance for a more sensitive system. Carl Jung had a saying that sums it all up. He said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. What he meant is that much of what happens to us is the result of patterns we don't see. Patterns that operate in the shadows. You, as a highly sensitive person, have the ability to see those patterns, to perceive what's operating in the shadows, and that gives you power. Power to choose differently, power to protect yourself, power to live more consciously. But that power comes with a price. The price is seeing what others prefer not to see. The price is knowing truths you sometimes wish you didn't. The price is carrying a perception that can be lonely. You didn't choose to be highly sensitive. You were born that way. Your brain was configured that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's a lot right with it. You see more, feel more, perceive more. That's a gift, even if it sometimes feels like a curse. The problem isn't your sensitivity. The problem is a society that values insensitivity, that prizes superficiality, that rewards those who don't think too deeply. You don't fit in that society, and that's good. But now let me tell you something you may have never heard, something that completely changes the dynamic between you and the narcissist. The narcissist needs you more than you need them. You have what they most desire: authenticity, capacity to feel, genuine connection, inner peace. They have none of that. They live in a constant performance, exhausted from maintaining the mask, empty inside, desperate for something they can't produce on their own. And they come to you because you have that inexhaustible source of emotional energy. You have that ability to connect that they lack. You possess a depth that they can only pretend to have, and they want to absorb it from you. That's why they idealize you at the beginning. That's why they put you on a pedestal, because you represent everything they are not, and they want to appropriate that somehow. But when they realize they can't have what you have, when they realize they can't steal your essence, they begin to devalue you. They begin to attack. They try to destroy what they cannot possess. This is the classic narcissist cycle: idealization, devaluation, discard. And you, with your heightened empathy, feel each phase intensely. The idealization feels like a dream. The devaluation feels like a nightmare. The discard feels like death. But here's the truth the narcissist never wants you to discover. You can exit the cycle. You can refuse to participate. You can use your perception not to save them, but to save yourself. Each time you perceive the manipulation and choose not to react, you win. Each time you see the hidden rage and step away, you win. Each time you recognize the emptiness behind the grandiosity and don't try to fill it, you win. The narcissist expects you to respond, expects you to react, expects you to try to fix things. When you do none of that, they lose their power, because their power depends entirely on your participation. Jung and Huberman explains that our nervous system is designed to respond to threats automatically, fight or flight. But there's a third option that few know about: the option to observe without reacting, to perceive without getting involved, to see the truth and simply walk away. You have this capacity. You can perceive the manipulation and choose not to play the game. You can see the rage and choose neither to provoke nor appease it. You can recognize the cycle and choose to leave before you are destroyed. This requires practice. Years of conditioning have taught you to respond, to care, to try to fix things. Your empathetic nature wants to help, wants to heal, wants to save. But some people cannot be saved, and the narcissist is one of them. Carl Jung was very clear about this. He said that you can't force someone to develop psychologically. Transformation has to come from within. The narcissist doesn't want to transform. They like the mask. They like the game. They see no problem with who they are. The problem for them is always you. So stop trying. Stop spending your precious energy on someone who doesn't want to change. Use that energy for yourself, for your healing, for your growth, to build a life far away from people who want to drain you. Now let me explain something that Jung discovered about the relationship between the highly sensitive person and the narcissist. Something that will help you understand why you seem magnetically attracted to each other. Jung talked about the shadow as the dark part of ourselves that we deny, but he also talked about projection. We project onto others what we don't want to see in ourselves, and the narcissist is a master of projection. The narcissist projects their shadow onto you, their weaknesses, their fears, their shame, everything they don't want to face in themselves, they see in you, and that's why they attack you. Because attacking you is a way of attacking parts of themselves that they hate. But here's what Jung also discovered. We can also project the shadow onto the narcissist. We can see in them everything we reject in ourselves. And sometimes we're fascinated by the narcissist because they represent parts of us that would like to be more like that. More confident, more daring, more self-centered. This doesn't mean that you are a narcissist. It means that you have parts of yourself that have been suppressed, parts that would like to have more of a voice. And the narcissist, in a distorted way, lives out these parts that you've suppressed. This is the dance of the shadows that Jung described. Two people projecting parts of themselves onto each other, creating an intense attraction that looks like love. But that is actually an unconscious search for lost parts of oneself. Healing comes when you stop projecting, when you integrate the parts you've suppressed, when you develop your own confidence, your own voice, your own center. Then the narcissist loses their magnetism. They no longer represent anything you need, and you finally become free. This is the work of individuation that Jung proposed, the process of becoming whole, of integrating all parts of yourself, of stopping the search outside for what can only be found inside. The highly sensitive person who does this work becomes a force of nature. They maintain their sensitivity, their perception, their empathy, but adds boundaries, discernment, the ability to protect themselves. They see the narcissist for who they are, but don't get involved. They perceive the manipulation, but don't react. They understand the dynamic, but choose not to participate. This is the awakened, highly sensitive person, the one who uses their gifts to create, to connect genuinely, to contribute to the world, no longer the one who is used and drained by those who don't deserve their energy. You can become that highly sensitive person. The path is open. The first step is to understand what you see. The second step is to stop doubting yourself. The third step is to act according to your perception. Trust what you see. You see what is there. The narcissist fears you because you're the only person in the room who sees through the mask. Use that power, not to destroy them, not to confront them, but to simply step away, to choose people who deserve your presence, to build a life where your sensitivity is honored, not exploited. Before we finish, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever perceived something in someone that everyone else seemed to ignore? Have you ever felt like you saw through a person while everyone around you was completely fooled? Have you doubted yourself because your perception seemed different from most? Comment below. Share your experience. You're not alone. There are thousands of other people like you watching this video. People who also see the hidden layers. People who also feel what others don't. When you share your experience, you validate someone else's perception. You show them that they're not crazy. You create a community of people who see the truth. And that's powerful. Carl Jung believed in the power of community. He believed that individual transformation is important, but that connection with others who understand is essential. You need people who see the world as you see it, who validate your experience, who remind you that you're not imagining things. So comment, participate, become part of this community of people who are rediscovering their own perception, who are learning to trust what they've always known but doubted. And if this video helped you understand something about yourself, consider supporting this work. The super thanks button below is a way for you to say, this content matters. You're not being drained like with the narcissist. You're choosing to support something that gives you value back, something that helps you understand who you are. Researching these teachings, organizing this information, creating this content takes intense study and work. When you offer your support, you make it possible for that work to continue. You enable more videos like this to be created. You become part of something bigger. Now, let me close with something Carl Jung wrote, something I think you need to hear. He said that the most terrifying person to encounter is yourself. Most people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid confronting their own soul. The narcissist is the perfect example of this. They've created an elaborate mask precisely to avoid confronting themselves. They project, they manipulate, they attack, all to avoid having to look inward. But you are different. You do look inward, you confront your own soul, you do the hard work of self-knowledge, and that's why you can see what's hidden in others. Your gift isn't a curse, it's a responsibility. Use it to protect yourself. Use it to better choose the people around you. Use it to build a life that honors who you really are. The narcissist fears you because you see the truth. Now, you know why. Use this knowledge wisely. Until the next video. And remember, you are not crazy. You see what's there, and that ability is more valuable than you ever imagined. There's something that Jung discovered that I haven't told you yet. Something that explains why the highly sensitive not only sees the narcissist, but why the narcissist also sees you, and why they pick you out of everyone in the room. When you enter a room, your energy is different. You carry a presence that superficial people barely notice, but that people with predatory intentions detect immediately. The narcissist seeks exactly what you have: emotional depth, capacity for connection, a desire to help. They find you because you shine differently, and that glow is irresistible to someone who lives in the dark. Research in social psychology confirms that people with narcissistic traits develop an ability to detect vulnerabilities. They don't choose victims randomly. They choose people who will provide the maximum narcissistic supply with the minimum resistance. And the highly sensitive person seems like the perfect choice. You want to connect. You want to help. You give second, third, 10th chances. You try to see the best in people. You feel the pain of others and want to alleviate it. All these qualities that make you a wonderful person also make you a target. But here's what the narcissist doesn't expect. You also see, you perceive, and you learn. The highly sensitive person who's been through a relationship with a narcissist will never be fooled the same way again. You've developed antibodies. You've calibrated your radar. You know exactly what to look for. That's the irony that Jung would have appreciated. The narcissist chooses you because you seem easy to manipulate. But in the process of manipulating you, they teach you to never be manipulated again. You emerge stronger, wiser, more protected than before. The pain you felt wasn't in vain. It gave you knowledge that can't be taken away. Now you see what others don't see. And more importantly, you act according to what you see. Andrew Huberman talked in one of his lectures about the neuroplasticity of the brain. Our brains change with experience. And experience with narcissists literally reconfigures your threat detection system. You become faster at noticing, more certain in identifying, more decisive in walking away. That's turning pain into power. That's using the wound as a teacher. That's what Jung called the opus, the alchemical work of turning lead into gold. You are not a victim. You are a survivor in the process of becoming a master at perceiving the truth, a master at protecting your energy, a master at choosing who deserves your presence. The narcissist underestimated you. They thought they could use you and discard you. They didn't know you were learning, that you were observing, that every manipulation they pulled was teaching you to never fall for that trap again. And now you know, you see, you perceive. This knowledge is yours. No one can take it from you. It was paid for with pain, but now it's yours forever. Use it well. The world needs people who see the truth, who perceive the shadows, who aren't fooled by the surface. You are one of those people. Honor that gift, protect it, and use it to create a life that reflects who you really are. You deserve relationships where your sensitivity is celebrated, not exploited, where your perception is valued, not questioned, where your depth is reciprocated, not drained. Those relationships exist. Those people exist. But you'll only find them when you stop spending energy on those who don't deserve it, when you free up the space that the narcissist occupied, when you finally allow yourself to receive as much as you give. The awakened, highly sensitive person doesn't need to convince anyone of the truth. They simply live according to it. And by living that way, they attract others who also see, who also feel, who also know. That's your community. That's your tribe. And they're waiting for you to break free from the people who drain you, to finally find the people who nurture you. The first step is trusting what you see. The second is acting accordingly. The third is never doubting yourself again. You see what's there, and that vision is a gift. Use it.